Thanks for stopping by my channel. This next video about Limey Kennels discuss one of his excursions to America when he came to visit some dogmen. This story here, I'm not going to try to deny or authenticate the validity. You know what I mean? The validity. A little tongue twisted. But how truthful these stories is, basically. I'm not going to try to, deny or say, because I wasn't there. But so, these type of stories are part of the game. Things that happen or that lead up to, dealings with dogs. They happen everywhere. It's just one man's side and you got the other side. But the main thing I'm not trying to do is stir up no past issues that anybody might have had. This is just fascinating material for the ears of the dog man. And even if you're an outsider, you just listening, just what goes on in the, in the dog game. So, and also none of this stuff, I don't advocate any illegal activities when it comes to these dogs either. So it's all for the fascination and the history of the breed. Hellcat.
That's ridiculous, man, those costs. It's unreal. But let me tell you something. Jimmy Seski brought me and my ex-wife now, but my wife back then, halfway. And we met each other at a little town at a cowboy store. And I visited my friend at that time, Jimmy Seski, in Cameron, Texas. And I went there with my wife. And I took 3 dogs with me that I gave the man for free. But Jimmy Seski, big Polish type of guy, strong guy. But he was not a real dogman in the sense of being in the box. But he did bred, and he bred a lot. He was having those Negrino dogs at the time. Probably the most purest bred that were around. Got some info on those dogs and the pedigrees as well, but that's for another story. And Jimmy Seski brought me and my ex-wife now, but my wife back then, halfway, and we met each other at a little town at a cowboy store. And we met up, and Jimmy Seski gave my wife a big 45, and he gave me a freaking Bowie knife, just in case. And he went up to Tim's face and he said, "You take real good care of my friends." So we got into the car, into the pickup, and we drove off from Texas to Louisiana. So we stopped about a quarter mile from a trailer camp, trailer trash. And we got out of the car. My wife was very nervous. And she took the camera and she started to videotape. And she didn't feel good at all about the situation with Tim. She thought, something's going to happen. And Tim walked up to the phone booth, took the phone, turned around, looked at us, looked at the phone, and started to make a phone call. My wife thought we were going to die. Then Tim came back and asked us, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "I want to go to the biggest hotel in this town." So he drove us to a hotel. We went inside. And as luck had it, we booked some room, but I paid cash. And then the woman behind the desk was a Dutch woman. And as it seems to be, she lived only 20 minutes away from where I live. So my wife felt a little bit more comfortable. And then Tim came to me and he says, "Hey, Big D, are you okay if I sleep in your room?" And I said, "Tim, listen, we drove 4 hours in the car. You did not open your mouth at all. Now we're at a hotel and you ask me if you can sleep in the same room where me and my wife sleep." I said, "I don't think so. You're gonna hire your own room." I hired that room for 3 days. But the next morning, there was a knock on our door and he was there and he said, "Okay, you need to check out. We're going to my place." My wife was not happy. So we went, checked out, got our money back, and we drove to his place, which took, well, another 2 hours. And when we arrived, he had to open a gate. And we went into a small road up into the hills. It was like forever before we arrived at his house. And when we arrived, we got our stuff out of the car and he opened his house, the door. And when we looked in, we could see that nobody had lived there for years because all the furniture had blankets over it and there was this old Christmas tree which stood there, and all the needles were on the ground. So we went inside. He gave us a big room. And I said, "Listen, mate, we are tired. We want to go to sleep." So me and my wife, ex-wife, went to bed, locked the door. She had the big 45 and I had the Bowie knife, and that's how we fell asleep because I did not trust him at the time. To be continued.